screen now?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, I think we should just start now, right?
Yes, I think 5:03.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeet Mistry. I work for WWF on the One Planet City Challenge. Welcome to this technical webinar on how you can join and be part of One Planet City Challenge. I will be taking you through an explanation of the One Planet City Challenge along with our partner at ICLEI, Carla Marino, who works on the Low Carbon Cities program at ICLEI. Just to run through the agenda, what we will do is we'll have an introduction to the One Planet City Challenge concept, looking at the background, why you should join, and reporting requirements and timelines. And then Carla will be taking you through the details of how to sign up to and register to the reporting platform, which is a Carbon Climate Registry, and we'll take you through the technical guidance here. We'll then briefly look at the evaluation criteria and take questions and answers. Just to let you know, there are instructions for the One Planet City Challenge you can find on the link provided here in this slide. So what is the One Planet City Challenge? What are we trying to achieve? What we are trying to achieve is what WWF calls One Planet Cities. And these are cities that enable all their citizens to thrive and prosper. So improving quality of life for people by respecting the ecological limits of our one and only planet. But although we want quality of life to improve, we also want to make sure that it's done in a sustainable manner. So just as a quick background and purpose, I think a lot of you would know some of these facts and figures. Over half of the world population now live in cities, and cities are a significant player when it comes to greenhouse gas emissions, with where activities in cities account for over 70% of GHG emissions. At the same time, we find that cities are already taking ambitious actions to address climate change and other sustainability concerns. Cities have to be responsive to their citizens in this way. Cities are also places of investment. They're nodes of capital, and global investment and local policies can help cities to make them solutions hotspots to reduce their climate impact, especially concerning GHG emissions. So what WWF would like to do through the One Planet City Challenge is to be a bridge builder and challenge cities to build on what existing actions they're taking on the climate, and to take them much further, to really raise their ambition and show that local governments are doing a lot more and can do a lot more to resolve this issue we have with climate. We also play a role in linking local governments with citizens, showing how far what local governments can achieve for their inhabitants and such. And we do all of this in partnership with key organizations, of course, including ICLEI, Local Governments for Sustainability, who is our key partner for the City Challenge. So we've run the One Planet City Challenge for over 5 years, and we've actually undertaken a bit of a rebranding, because we were formerly called the Earth Hour City Challenge, because when we originally started, we were linking up with a lot of cities who are part of our Earth Hour project. And what we've been doing with the City Challenge? What we've done is we've challenged cities to report their actions and commitments to a One Planet future. So getting cities to report the type of climate actions they're taking, or sustainability actions and projects which they have, and also the commitments they're making. What sort of targets do they have? Do they have ambitions to reduce renewable energy and to reduce emissions, etc.? And since we started on the City Challenge in 2011, we've had over 300 cities participating. So we're very much a global player in terms of how we've reached out to cities. And what we've tried to do is really pick up and put the highlight on ambitious cities and cities which are really taking strong climate actions. We originally teamed up with ICLEI, Local Governments for Sustainability, in 2012. When we went international with the competition, originally we ran a pilot in Sweden in 2011, which was very successful, but then we decided to go international with it. And we chose ICLEI because they have this wonderful reporting platform, which Carlo will be describing, the Carbon Climate Registry, which he will take you through later on, which is an internationally recognized platform for reporting, for cities to report their climate and sustainability actions. And what happens with the City Challenge is that every year we evaluate cities' reporting, and we choose national and global winners. So cities which are really doing well within their local context, and also a global winner as well. So out of those national winners in every country which participates, we also choose one overall winner. And those winners are chosen by an international expert jury, which I'll be talking about a bit later. Thus far, the global winners for the City Challenge have been Vancouver in Canada, Cape Town in South Africa, Seoul in South Korea, I should say, and Paris in France. And they've all been chosen by this jury because of the strong actions they've taken, both within their local context, but also how they've reached out internationally, how they've become a beacon for sustainability for cities all over the world. So for this round of the One Planet City Challenge, we're inviting cities to really demonstrate accountability and transparency of what they're doing through the commitments they're making. And we really are encouraging cities to report ambitious commitments which are in line with this wonderful new Paris Agreement which we have. So we really want cities to try and align with Paris in terms of, the ambition of holding emissions under 1.5 degrees, and how cities have gone about thinking about that is very important. In addition to that, we also have a thematic part of the City Challenge where we're looking at cities which are reporting strong actions concerning urban transport and mobility, and we're really looking for creative actions here because mobility takes up a large chunk of emissions in cities. Around a third of emissions come from mobility and transport. So how are you going to deal with that? And just to emphasize, we recognize that we are a global competition, and we recognize that cities across the world have different circumstances in which they are working in terms of the national commitments which they may or may not have, and also in terms of the resources they have. So cities across the world have different roles they play in delivering on this challenge. So just to look at why should cities participate in the OPCC? Why go through the bother of reporting all this information and being part of this? Well, we really think that what we can do is we can play a role in increasing local awareness and support for your sustainability efforts. A large part of our work and the process of the City Challenge is helping cities to engage with their local communities. Our local offices have their own events which they do in the different cities which participate, and we also have a social media campaign which has engaged many citizens across the world in creating an awareness about what their cities are doing concerning climate and energy and sustainability issues. We can also help to increase the media interest in your city's sustainability work as well, locally and globally, where WWF has local offices, but we're also a global network. Importantly, we can provide high quality feedback for the strategies which you report to the City Challenge. So as well as receiving feedback from the international jury, we also have a consultancy company which also provides feedback to finalist cities and to all cities which participate. So once you report, you get feedback on your actions. So it can really help you to be more ambitious for future rounds, or think really how can you really be much more effective in your climate and sustainability strategies. You have the chance to also share expertise with your peers and receive sort of good examples from other cities who are participating. There are platforms for that. There is one linked to the City Challenge called the Urban Solutions Platform, which we're developing. And we also have national and one international conference as well, where there are a lot of events and seminars for you to really pick up on what other cities are doing across the world, and really try and share and your expertise as well. Yes, and we can also help you to strengthen your reporting on this globally recognized reporting platform, the cCR, which Carla will be talking about later. This reporting platform is internationally recognized and is the official platform for reporting, for cities to report their climate data as well. So, and being part of the challenge means you'll also be helping to build collaborative pressure for additional action. As I said, you'll be reporting as part of the cCR platform, and that's a very important policy tool to take to the global climate talks, which are going on, to really try and put pressure to increase ambition at national levels, and not only on terms of climate, but also in terms of showing that cities are really doing a lot, and that cities need more support in terms of financing, in terms of partnerships, in terms of more power as well to do more on sustainability. There are obviously many benefits from WWF recognition as well as being associated with our brand. We have many communications channels and many other initiatives which can be linked up to your work with the OPCC. So we really, overall, I can say that being part of the OPCC can really help to put your city on the map as a sustainability champion. This is just a summary of the key stages and timelines. At the moment, we're requesting cities to submit their data from now until the end of September. During this time, I think some cities will also receive some capacity building support. For that, you'd have to really talk to your local WWF office about how that's being handled. After a city's data is reported, there is then a pre-screening process which takes place from about October to the end of the year, and that's carried out by a consultancy organization we've used Accenture for the past few years. And what the pre-screening does is really provides a robust way of analyzing the reporting data and drilling down to the most top 3 good performing cities in each country. After that happens, there's around early next year, there's jury meetings. The first jury meeting will look at choosing a national champion for each country. So from those 2 to 3 finalist cities, there's a national champion which gets chosen. And then what happens is there's a second jury meeting which only looks at the national champions, and from those national champions, a global champion is then selected. Around about the same time, there's a public engagement campaign, which I briefly mentioned. It's been called We Love Cities previously. I think it might be called We Love Cities for this round as well. And it's largely been launched as a social media campaign. So you're using social media to really highlight what action cities are taking, really joining cities with citizens as well, where local offices will have their own events. And then finally, we'll have the award ceremonies, national award ceremonies, and one global award ceremony as well. The last global award ceremony was held at the Habitat 3 conference, which took place in Quito in Ecuador. And there we had Ban Ki-moon come and make a speech and show his interest in the work that cities are taking. And yeah, so then you really have the chance to put yourself on the map at a global conference and really get the attention which you need and deserve for the work you're doing. So just to summarize key dates, submission of data, as we said, takes place like from now to September. We also have some pre-deadlines as well if you want feedback on some of the data which you're reporting here. There's June and August, but the final deadline is 29th of September. And what are the reporting requirements for being part of the City Challenge? Well, you need to report 3 out of 4 of the following and a city profile. So you need to have the basic profile data, so you need to register and put in basic data about key contacts, GDP, etc. You need to put in targets and commitments, a climate change action plan, a GHG inventory and actions which with a focus on mobility. So 3 out of 4 of those would be fine. After you've done that, you then get the recognition as an OPCC candidate. Carla can explain what happens on the platform concerning that. Just to mention that as well as having national and global winners for this year, we'll also be having a prize for urban mobility champions. As I said, there was a theme on urban mobility this year. And if you report very strong actions, very innovative actions, actions which we would want to spread, we want other cities to learn from, then you would certainly get recognition for it. And here's just to give you an idea of the global breadth of the City Challenge. We're running in many countries now, I think at least over 25 at the last count, and we're quite global. We have also cities in Eastern and Southern Africa participating as well this year. And if you're from any of these countries, you can contact your local WWF office to hear more, or you can contact us as well, of course. But we can put you in touch with your local office who can probably help you with on-the-ground issues too. And now I think it's over to you, Carla, to talk about the reporting platform for this challenge, which is the cCR.
Thank you very much, Jade, for your presentation. Yes, now I will continue with the cCR. Let me just make myself the presenter. Okay, are you able to see my screen now?
I can see it.
Okay, great. Okay, so like Jit mentioned, the cCR, it's the world's leading platform for cities, towns, and regions for voluntary report. And so basically we have different elements for cities to demonstrate on their climate commitments and also separate actions to achieve these commitments, as well as greenhouse gas inventories, so to measure the level of performance, and then other aspects that I will be showing you today. The cCR contains action on mitigation and adaptation, and now you will see how this this is reported. So cities that want to join the One Planet City Challenge, they need to also join the cCR. So for that, they need to create an account and provide some basic information, including also basic contact point information, and then of course agree with the terms and conditions. This they can do in carbon.org and confirm. So once they've done that, they will be a cCR reporting entity, and from there they can express their interest in registering for the One Planet City Challenge. So they just have to confirm that, and then we will receive an email, and then we will confirm their participation. Once cities are registered in the cCR and in the One Planet City Challenge, they will be able to download pre-populated forms. So for those cities that are new cities that did not participate in the challenge before or that did not have a cCR account, they will become the pre-populated forms with just basic information. And for those that have already participated in the challenge before or that are already reporting to the cCR, the pre-populated forms, they will be pre-populated with all the data they've submitted in the past. So now the structure of the reporting form as follows, I will show you. So let's go to the data input. So there are two reporting forms. One is the core one, and here you can find a place for reporting the account information, the profile of the city, targets and commitments, action plans, GPC inventory, energy performance, greenhouse gas government inventories, adaptation and resilience information, and also mobility data. So that is the one core form. And then separately we have the action reporting form, where cities can report any kind of action, including mobility action. So now we are going to go through each of the reporting elements that are in relevance of the One Planet City Challenge. So let's begin with the simple one, the account information. So cities here, they just need to report their information the most accurately as possible, because this is the information that will be stored in the database, and then this will allow that we can serve the city through our other initiatives as well. So if we don't have the accurate data, then the city is misplaced, for example, in the map with a few kilometers. And then if we don't have the contact person information, we can't connect with the relevant person that is in charge of what's reported. So there is a place for that as well, where cities can report that. Now let's go to the city profile. In this tab, cities can report the description of their city. In the future, there is going to be a website for cities. For each city, we'll have a page with a description. So this is the place where cities have to put the text for that. So please adhere to the instructions that are indicated with a little I, because afterwards the data will be translated into the page according to those instructions. Also, cities are able to put all the geopolitical and socioeconomic information, such as area, population, GDP, geography type, population change, main economic sectors. So this allows us to contextualize the city. So by providing this this information, for example, the annual government operational budget, and so on. The second part of the city profile allows cities to report a little bit on their planning and commitments, both in mitigation and other adaptations, so low emission development or in resilience. Cities can tell whether they have commitments or climate plans, and also they can talk about their general sustainability goals. For example, in this place, they can detail what is the axis of their sustainability goal. They can also talk about amplifying factors of the impact of climate change. For example, an old population that is more vulnerable to extreme climate events, or the location of the city along the coastline. Also impacting businesses, for example, infrastructure that is damaged by sea level rise, affecting supply chains, higher insurance costs, and so on and so forth, according to the context of the city. Then in this lower part, cities can talk about their governance, again, mitigation, low emission development, or adaptation or resilience. So they can detail how they review their process of climate change overall, if there is a system for measuring the outcomes, what does it consist of, this system, what is the impact of national activities, are there some activities positive activities, for example, umbrella programs or some constraints. Cities can detail all of that here. Then whether their greenhouse gas emission reduction targets are integrated to their master planning or not. This is where they will detail this and into how extent. And then the drivers for tackling climate change, such as, for example, impacts that are already observed, or ensuring a resilient city that can attract and keep businesses, for example. And also they can detail economic opportunities. So this all information again provides a context for the city, and this is relevant for the challenge. So now let's go to the third tab. It's the targets and commitments. I'm going to show you now that there are different kinds of targets and different ways in which they can be expressed. So we have greenhouse gas emissions reduction targets, we have renewable energy targets, energy efficiency targets, adaptation and resilience targets, and other mitigation targets. And then each target has different types. So there are different ways in which a target can be expressed. No? For example, for greenhouse gas emissions reduction, there can be baseline scenario, absolute base year, carbon intensity, or a fixed level. And this is telling how the target is expressed, whether this is, for example, in relation to 1 unit of energy or GDP. That would be, for example, the carbon intensity target. Or if it's a fixed amount of CO2 emissions to be reduced, that would be the fixed level. When there is a scenario of assumptions that will happen, then that would be the baseline scenario, and then this reduction is in regards to this, and then with an absolute base year. So then when we see at the renewable energy targets, we have again four types of targets. So they are either as a share in the final energy consumption or in the primary energy mix, or already as energy consumption of renewable energy, so in megawatts hour, or in installed capacity, that's in megawatts. And then for energy efficiency, we have two types of targets, which are the final energy consumption and primary energy mix, so an increment in energy efficiency in either of those. And then there are some mandatory things that need to be reported when reporting a target, so let's look at them. So first is a description. We need to have a description of what is the target, what it intends, like a short and concise description. Also the type of the target, of course, and this including the boundary. This all you can select in the offline reporting sheet. There are options for this. So whether the target is for the community, so includes all the community, or only for government operations. Then the units, which are in most of the cases also selectable from drop-down lists, except for the adaptation and resilience targets and the other mitigation targets, where one has to define its own means of measuring. So there is a need to indicate what will be the way in which the outcome and success of the target can be measured. Then the target value, of course, the target year, the base value, and this is very important to evaluate the target, the base year, and the adoption year. Also, we ask whether the target is it's indicated by mayor or council. So now let's go to the next step, which is the action plans. In the action plans, cities are able to report their action plan. So they can report their action plan on mitigation or adaptation, or they can also report an integrated document, and they need to report this along with the supporting document. It is, of course, better if this document is available in English. Then we have cities can report a summary of their action plan, and in here they can detail, for example, what is it the sectors that they are covering, although there is a place for this afterwards. So just a little summary of what is the plan doing and what is its goal. So also they can talk about whether there is public participation. For example, what has been the involvement of stakeholders in the process to come up with the plan? Has there been in place a consultative process? If so, how, with whom, with the citizens, with the industry? Cities can detail all of this. And also now in regards to stakeholders engagement, like I mentioned. So now let's look the lower part of this same tab. Here you can find a place for ticking on the sectors. So adaptation and resilience sectors covered, and mitigation and sectors covered. So cities should choose the sectors that I covered by this plan. And also for mitigation, it's better when they provide an estimate of the emission reductions that are planned with the implementation of the plan. That is in regards to the action plan. And in the action plans, we take overarching plans, so not sector plans. So these can be also reported, but they will be reported as an action. I will indicate this. It's coming up. So now let's look at the GPC inventory. So the GPC inventory tab that we have has a section where cities can provide information on the entity that has generated the inventory, that has developed the inventory, such as the reporting period, then the area, GDP, boundaries, population, and just please be consistent with what is reporting on the city's profile tab, except if the years are different, for example, for GDP. But please keep this in mind. And then in the lower section, cities are asked to provide the supporting documents. For example, the global warming potential was used, activity data that caused the emissions, and the emission factors which the tons of emissions were calculated. So these are three supporting documents that are needed. And then also cities can indicate which tool or calculator was used to generate the inventory. Then also the verification information. So if the inventory was verified, then cities can include that there and state this. In the lower part of the same tab, here this is how the reporting form looks like. So it's made according to the GPC, and then there are all the gases, with the sectors and subsectors they are coming from. And also the totals in CO2 equivalents, and the notation keys which can be used, for example, if the emission is not occurring, if it was not estimated, if it was included somewhere else. This can all be included here according to the GPC. This is just the second part of that, in which cities can detail on the activity data that they used. No? So for example, if this was data from the city or model data, then the emission factors that they were used, they can also detail that. The methodologies that were used, and these all according to the GPC. And then the exclusion that were done, and there is a place for explanatory comments. So this is all in line with the GPC. And in the end, there is a summary table that will just calculate what's reported. Just a summary, no? It's nothing but that. So that is with the GPC. And now let's go to the actions. This is where cities can report any kind of action. But the One Planet City Challenge for this year has a focus on mobility and transportation systems. So this is where they can report these actions. And in the actions, there is a place for including a lot of information. So in regards to name, we ask cities to choose a name which is short and concise and very descriptive on what the action is. No? And then there is a place for a little summary. And in this summary, the city has to include what is the action doing. So what is the problem behind the action? So how is this problem being addressed with the implementation of these actions? And what would be the actions, the outcomes of the actions? I'm sorry. Again, here they can provide all this information to characterize the action, type of action. So this means, for example, whether this is a program, whether this is a regulatory instrument, whether this is an infrastructure intervention. So, for example, we can have a regulation that requires all new city buildings to be LEED Silver compliant. That would be an action. Financial assistance for energy efficiency improvements or any kind of renewable energy implementation. In regards to infrastructure changes, for example, such as in transportation systems to greener systems or with lower emissions, programs to promote alternatives to private car use. And again, here it's the plans which are sectoral. So, for example, the stormwater master plan of the city. So not overarching plans. And then we have here also information for the scope. So impact year, the supporting documents, and also the status of the action. Also information on multi-level governance, so whether the action it's binding for lower level of governments or whether it's a part of a set of higher level of governments. And then information on the financing. So cities can include what is the budget of the action, what is the cost for the local government, what is the financial status, what are the sources for funding, and also information on job creation. So this all allows to contextualize the action with the city as well. So to see the resources available for that specific action. Further, there is place where cities can indicate which are the actions, which are the sectors in which the action is, which sectors are being tackled with the action, and more specifically the area of impact. And then for mitigation actions, we have possibility to report the emissions reduction information, which sometimes is available for actions. And also very interesting for the city challenge is the possibility to report on the co-benefits of the action. So cities tickle on this to indicate what are the expected co-benefits of the implemented or to be implemented action. Yes, so that is in regards to mobility data. And then we have mobility data. It provides a place for the cities that want to access to the special mention on mobility. So at least they need to provide the modal splits of their transportation and mobility systems. So that is mandatory. And then there are other aspects that will be also taken into consideration, such as energy consumption, emissions, but also others on accessibility, for example, trip duration, access to public transport, road safety. And then in regards to planning, such as, for example, the mobility plans. So with that, we hope to have some information on mobility that will be able to do the evaluation later on, how in the way that Jit explained with an external company. Okay, and that is all on my side. So now I will give it back to you, Jit. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Carla. Sorry, I was just unmuting there. I'll now show my screen, and I guess I need to catch up with you if I just, let's see if I can page down here. Yes, this is everything which Carla provided. By the way, I think we're also recording these webinars, and there's a lot of information there, I know. So then if you feel like you want to go back and have a look at what Carla presented in particular, then you can find that, I think, through the Carborn website. Is that correct, Carla?
Yes, we will make available the webinars. We had just the recordings, and we will post them in the cCR in the One Planet City Challenge section.
Yes, because there's a lot of information for you, I gather, to take in this one webinar. So just moving on quickly to the evaluation framework and how it works. Now this is the evaluation framework for the shortlisting of cities. So this is what Accenture will be doing once we have passed that September deadline to drill down to pick the top cities in each country. So once the data is submitted, if you look from the left-hand side of this funnel, there's a quantitative analysis which looks at the data, the quantitative data submitted, looking at performance across various areas here, including renewable energy, mobility, etc. So the next stage is then looking at the quality of information provided, so looking at supporting documents to enable a further refinement of the city's performance. There are then also local consultations with the local offices to really get information about what's going on the ground in that particular country, and also to make sure that the results, the preliminary results of this evaluation ring true. And the final part is then the jury meetings, as I mentioned before, where the jury will discuss the finalists and conclude to have both national and global winners. And just to give you an idea of the jury, this is the jury from last year, 2016. What we try and do is make sure we have a good geographical spread of people, and also people from various and important sectors concerning cities work. So we'll have people from academia, people working with financing for cities, so people from the World Bank, people with who work on the issue of smart cities and technology, so Accenture are represented here, and of course ICLEI are here as well. Just to look at quickly at the criteria for which the jury will be looking at. What they really will be looking at is for cities that align their GHG emissions reduction trajectory in a transparent way and according to science, in particular to the Paris Agreement goals, which I mentioned before. Strategic action plans need to be ambitious and strategic, and to be able to be realistic in meeting the commitments being made. And they should also look at areas, so sectors where change is most needed. So like if a city has a large problem with emissions from the building sector, then the action plan should really focus on that, for example. And the cities really have to have integrated actions which are come together to provide a strong overarching climate action plan. So what we mean here is that they should, as well as focusing on particular areas, they should also have a good breadth as well as depth to them as well. So we also want to encourage public engagement, where cities are reaching out to communities and all stakeholders which can help them to create the positive impact. So as well as so looking at businesses, looking at NGOs, looking at schools, looking at all sorts of actors who can assist them here. So we're looking for cities which are really leaders in terms of their local context as well. So cities which are doing much more, which really want to show that they can help other cities as well, but which also are credible in what they want to achieve in relation to their size and to the challenges which they have. So there's no point in putting 100% emissions reductions if we really don't have the resources to do that, and if the challenge is really too big over a short scale. So, and of course, as I mentioned before, we really want cities to highlight sustainable mobility efforts in particular. So that's the end of this webinar. You can let us know if you have any questions and comments now, and otherwise you can get in touch with us through our various contact details here.
So I don't see any questions. I think I'll give it just 1 or 2 minutes to see if there pop any questions.
Like I said, there's a lot to digest here, so we can obviously just write to us. We're here, and we'll be happy to take on any questions or queries we have. We're here to help you with this process.
Perfect. Okay, no questions I see.
Perhaps,
thank you from Lina,
yeah.
and that's all.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you very much for being part of this, and best of luck with your applications. We really look forward to receiving those. So thank you, and have a good day or good evening, wherever you may be. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.